down deep inside of me. And I wake up and realize what you do to me. Eyes as sweet as candy. Taste is on my mind. I'll be with you guys in a sec. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, no, never mind. False alarm. Benji, there's no one there. I should do. Benji, stop.
There's more to Spotify than meets the ear. That's because video is taking center stage on Spotify, with over 300,000 video shows and 300 million users already watching their favorite podcast. With seamless switching between watching and listening, you can tune in anytime, anywhere. Got a show of your own? Upload upload your video to Spotify, turn views into fans, and monetize your passion.
Mask.
Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four. We are the best team ever. Is now available to buy or rent. Be the first to watch Marvel's original superhero family from your home.
That's what I'm talking about.
Critics have called it a live-action Incredibles.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And a straight-up good time.
What's the plan?
Trust me, I hate that.
That's a
plan.
bad
It's
plan.
terrible
That's a
idea.
stupid plan.
Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four.
What time is it?
It's Clobbering time!
Available to buy or rent.
Oh, forgot to slow down. Oh, this is going so well, isn't it? Hello, you lovely lot. Yeah, so we're back. I know it's been a while since we've done this, and it is expected to be a bit shit, but welcome back. Yeah, basically, I've got a bit of free time this morning, and you know what? I thought since Wildcard Sunday, I might as well do a story time. I went to Scotland about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and never really did like a little explanatory of like what happened. I got a bit sidetracked. Basically, I'm back at uni now, which is awesome. Essentially, because I'm doing a course I enjoy, the work's not so hard, it's more the writing that takes up time, but I still enjoy, like, writing narratives and stories anyway, so it's not actually that bad. And on top of that, I've got, like, work and other work going on. I'll explain these in a minute as well. But yeah, we've been making cosplay on the side, just outside of camera stuff. We've been streaming on the side as well, so there is some stuff up on Twitch right now, but if you want to watch from over the last couple of days, it is on there. Unfortunately, it has been barely audible, mainly because, like I said, I've been doing uni and work and other stuff, and so I've been having to stream the evenings instead of during times that I would usually do it where I can actually talk. I bought these for Halloween, and they are going to be part of the cosplay. Essentially, these and these are going to be like overlaid on top of each other, and so when I make my gauntlets, it's actually going to have like extended fingers that we can like crunch with. They're going to act as a bit more of protection. I'm going to make like grooves in the cosplay as well, that like the string will go around and everything. So these are basically just an underlayer, but also I can use them for like Halloween outfits and stuff. And also my alt account, which yeah. So we'll just take these off now. I have got more stuff as well, but I think we'll save that for Halloween. Very special stream for Halloween when I play that horror game, and we'll do some artsy stuff. Because, see, the thing is, for Halloween, I've planned some kind of artsy activities, including like bleaching of black clothes and like making cool t-shirts and stuff. We might do pumpkin carving. We could also possibly do we might do pumpkin carving. We might do a bit of artsy crafty sort of stuff. Anyone to know? I should just explain. Yeah, at uni, I'm doing a games design and art course. And yeah, mainly because I have a very like arty kind of side to me, and I can draw people, but not in a sense that is great. I can do composition of people, but then just like apply creaturey things. But I generally draw monsters, and that is rather fitting of the week of Halloween. I could draw like a anime thing or something like that. But yeah, we're going to do some dragons and some art and all stuff surrounding that. I might even pick out some specific bits, but yeah. Also, what I forgot to mention is when I went to Pride back in August, I went to this thing, which is awesome. I fucking love it. But yeah, it's great to be back, obviously, and yeah, we're going to jump right in. Basically, I've got over the last couple of weeks, I've been uploading all of my photos from Scotland up onto Pinterest so that we can actually do it on here. Which is the other reason for it is, well, so either I have the song. It's probably what I'm going to do for all of my future kind of holiday bits, because Scotland, turns out, it's actually one of the places on a list. I have like a bucket list of places I want to go at least once or twice in my lifetime. I'm going to die at some point. Huh. Anyway, on a more positive note, yeah, so we have Japan on there, New Zealand, Australia, I'm going to visit my sister, Norway, Scotland we'd already been to. I'm going to go to Ireland at some point, go see the ruins and everything like that. And what I realised when I was out there actually as well, is on top of just the Scotland like nature and environment, you can walk 20 minutes in literally any direction from any town, and there'll be a ruin there. Like, or they'll be incorporated into the town. There is so much stuff there, so much history, and so much kind of like it's a very fantasy place. It's a very kind of, I don't know how to put it, but it's great there, and yeah, it's fucking wonderful. I did a 60-mile hike there, which was exceptional. Yes, 60 miles, I know. Basically, I walked from 8 o'clock in the morning till till 6 in the evening, from the base of Kinlochleven to the old Bridge of Walkie. So that was fun. And yeah, we'll get more into that later, because there's a part of that story which does get quite bad and also a little bit dangerous. But yeah, without further ado, we'll jump right in. And basically, the way we're going to do this is via the pictures. It's going to obviously shoot back memories into my head, but also it allows us to build a bit of a story while we go along with it. So yeah, wicked. Let's fucking go. Also, thanks for the new follower. I have your name here, actually. I can check now. Something weird that's going on with Twitch right now, actually, just leading on to that, I have actually created, like, Halloween bits for Twitch and, like, a border and everything, and we might even do face cam for Twitch, because I'm going to have to cosplay by that point, because I'm going to go to MCN London Comic Con for the fucking time ever. That's the other thing. I'm going to MCN London Comic Con for the first time ever, because I only realised this year that it happens in London, because I'm a fucking moron. But yeah, I always thought it was San Diego only, because I've seen massive clips of it, but I never realised it was in London. And actually, a couple of people of uni are going as well, which is awesome. So, yeah, I really can't wait for that. And yeah, it's going to be fucking awesome. But yeah, the other thing, yes, we came back to Twitch. I don't know why Twitch, but for some reason, basically, when people have been following, either inside or outside of stream, up to Mr. Raven, everyone that's followed afterwards, it doesn't show up in my analytics or my stuff on Twitch. I'll only get it on email that I have linked to my Twitch account rather than the actual Twitch page, which is really weird and quite annoying, because obviously I like to give you guys a bit of shout out and thanks and everything, but I can't do that without seeing your names. So yeah, if you follow on stream and I don't say anything, I'm sorry, because I need to get it fixed basically, or like there's, I don't know. But yeah. But anyway, without further, yeah, so Belor Kinsley, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Shadow community. I guess you're a dragon, or whatever mythical creature you want to be. I do actually have a little follow tab that pops up on the side, but not on this overlay, because I need to sort out stuff for IRL, which I've been needing to do for a while. But like I said, I've been a bit preoccupied with uni work, and it's going so well so far. Basically, we've got to make like a fantasy hammer, and then make a backstory for it. I've done like this cursed thing that absorbs people's like powers, and like, but it like travels across dimensions and messes with people's minds, and like it draws you to it. It's like a dead consciousness that people want to grab onto. But the thing is, this hammer, right? You can't die when it's with you unless it wants to kill you. When it senses like a more powerful thing, or senses that you're reaching your expiry date, it will force you to stay alive and then kill you itself. And then when it kills you, it will actually rip your hand off. So your hand is grasping the hammer. And the idea is essentially it's going to be the handle, the hilt, is going to be made out of hands that grab onto it, with two hands grabbing like the actual smashing part at the top, with eyes on either side. And then if you turn it like this way, it's going to be a hole going through the middle. And in the middle of that hole, there's going to be like the shard of a heart of the oldest creature, a bit of lore, a bit of allure there. But yeah, and I'm fucking loving it so far. I used to love writing narratives and stories for everything. Yeah. And I get like stupidly descriptive when it comes to it, using similes and metaphors and all that. But yeah, wicked. But it's going really well. And obviously, if I can in the future, I want to show you some of my uni work. I've even got, we're building a portfolio. I can show you now. We're building a portfolio. If I just switch to this real quick. I'm in editor mode. I could just switch to the actual website. Give me a sec. I'm just going to switch the camera. And then we're going to get straight on with Scotland, because I don't really know how much time we have today. And, yeah, to be honest, that is kind of an annoyance, because people were going to be going out, but now they're not anymore. Which is a problem, as you can probably tell. Because people being back while I'm streaming, everybody's not so supportive of it. And, yes. And it's a bit hard when you're doing story time and you can't fucking talk. So, right, so let's get on with it, shall we? View your site. Here we go. Cool. Right. And actually, I can show you all the fancy images and like the inspo I've got going on here. So, I will just... that doesn't work, does it? I need to put I keep forgetting to put a navigation in, like to switch between pages. I think we'll just go here. We'll just do like a quick skim through, but basically I'll just tell you what I've been doing at uni, essentially. Because, yeah, I know... This is meant to be technically just Scotland, but I guess I can involve some other stuff too, because it is quite a big part of my life, this stuff. So, if I can just put you guys in the right manner, there we go. Right, here we go. So, getting started, basically, we went ahead and just did like an overview of everything at uni. But then I've never actually played Zelda. I want to play it so much now. I've actually put it on my games list for the future. But Zelda Breath of the Wild, it looks insanely good. I'd never seen the trailer for a lot of these games, although I've played some of them. Stardew Valley is on my list already. I've been suggested it by so many people. The trailer looks so calming. The game itself, from what I've heard, can be very, very, very annoying and tedious and frustrating, which can be the case with a lot of like nitty-bitty things. But basically, we, as like a game student, what we have to do is break down the trailer, how it makes us feel, what the game pillars behind it, like what the themes and what the fundamentals of the game and everything. And what I find myself doing is now, even when I'm playing Assassin's Creed or Battlefront or Minecraft or any games in terms of stream or outside of stream, or seeing game trailers, is my brain just automatically switches to, you know what? This is how the mechanics work. This is what the themes are. This is what the things are. And I think that's what they essentially want us to do for every single game we play. And the best part about this is, which pairs up with this so well, this side of stuff, they encourage us to play games outside of uni to continue to develop skills to sense game pillars and fantasy themes. And yeah, it's wonderful. So I can literally do Xbox for homework, essentially, as long as obviously I'm identifying the kind of details and themes and everything behind it. But yeah, we've got Warframe, Assassin's Creed, and all that. I've never actually seen the trailers for Warframe, Assassin's Creed, and Battlefront. I know they're on the thing when you buy them on the Xbox shop on Microsoft, but yeah, I've never actually seen the trailers, and I tried not to go too biased with it, because obviously I've played the games before. I tried to just prey intently on the trailers themselves, and what I realised is that there are hints of the actual game and what you can get up to, but Warframe is so fucking old, and so is Assassin's Creed. But the thing behind it is they don't actually show a lot of what is in the game. They actually hide a lot of stuff, and it's kind of like when you look. The best example I give is a Minecraft update. Obviously, Minecraft Live happened yesterday. I actually missed it, and I could either react to it live now or live later or at some point in the future, because I haven't actually seen it yet. And from what I've heard, it looks really good. Apparently, there's something to do with zombie horses and some other bits. But yeah, like I said, I haven't seen it, and so I will be watching that later, possibly as a live or not. But yeah, what I've realised with a lot of the game trailers, they don't actually reveal a lot what's in the game. So they leave it on a cliffhanger, they hide some stuff, but they still pull intrigue with all like the characters and ties the history and stuff you can play with. And there's always some sort of tie to realism or reference to like a historical event or like a pop culture or a movie or something that really draws you in. Even with like the most obscure games like Ori and the Will of the Wisps, it's kind of like a cute horror with unnerving but also cutesy, and those themes together, they kind of draw your attention to Ori themselves being like the only, like the brightest character in the world. It's it's very fun. I could go through this portfolio like fully in the future, but yeah, just exploring my favourite games. Like I like open world with story, survival exploration, sandbox, ragdoll, game companies, Ubisoft, Xbox, Digital Extremes, Bethesda. I like surrealist, liminal spaces. I fucking loved Superliminal. Playing it on my birthday, it was exceptional. Distant past and future sort of settings and unnerving artsy fantasy. And of course, my preferred art medium is mixed media, which is like digital painting, a little bit of photography, and actually painting onto photography when it's printed out, doing like negatives and the developing and all of that, and actually play around with the developing stage in photography by like mixing the chemicals to a bigger proportion they should, and it makes some weird like bulbous and bubbly effects, turns things like yellow and magenta. It's really fun if you've never tried it. And then traditional art as well. Obviously, what I do a lot is actually draw stuff on paper, super detailed, just with pen, because I got to the point where I don't need to use pencil, and then transfer that over to digital, print it back out, and then add more stuff via hand. And then sculpture as well. Sometimes what I'll do is, I don't know, sculpture. I will essentially make drawings, 360 them, print them on Maya, print them out in 3D, and then go ahead and actually add stuff on that with like clay and obviously keep painting and stuff like that. And it's kind of what I did at uni last year as well. And obviously we've got this stuff as well here, which is kind of like pop culture art, but like mixing in with dragonistic stuff. And very first day, what we did was go ahead and You know a game where you like fold a piece of paper and someone draws the head, the torso, the legs, and the feet? We essentially did that, but we had 5 people, so one of us has to do the head, one of us has to do the left arm and left side of the torso, one of us do the right side and right side of the torso, and the others has to do a leg each. The problem is, with this challenge, we couldn't see what each other were drawing. We weren't allowed to use any reference at all. And on top of all things, we completely forgot to mention what scale we were doing. And you're about to see in a minute. So this is actually my dragon here, and this is kind of how I draw. Essentially, this is my style. I don't know if you can see where it builds out from. But I always start with the eyes. No matter what I'm drawing, I always start with the eyes. And I either leave them blank or fill them in and just leave a dot for a more staring, glaring, creepy scene. This one is a bit more flat, I must admit, because we were a bit rushed. We only had 15 minutes to do this. But if I got an hour, I would have fucking properly gone in and done stuff. I'd say this is pretty good for 15 minutes, to be fair. So, yeah, and I've again, you can just see I've done this straight with sort of biro pens. There's nothing else on the page. But yeah, this is where proportionally errors came into play. So this is one of my other classmates who's just across from me, and then this is someone else. Yeah, you can see what we meant about proportioning. I kind of had to shrink the neck. In a weird way, it looks like the head's been blown off and a dragon has grown back. Or maybe the perspective is the dragon's leaning forwards, a really long neck out of this body. But everyone else, in terms of me and one other person, we got giant proportions. In terms of everything fitting together, it actually does go quite well. This and the dragon match, and this match, and this, and I feel this match. And so everything ties together in some sort of way, in unison. And it made a really interesting character that we called John Barber for some reason. But yeah, the fantasy hammer. Essentially, what we do is grab a bunch of just references and everything like that. I've got witchcraft and futurism and gore and grotesque, and I mashed them all together. And then we've just got a bit of a narrative, which I will read very quickly now before we get into Scotland, because we've got, I'd say, about an hour left. Right, let's put on some dark fantasy, epic cinematic music. If I can find... royalty-free, epic cinematic music. Just siphoning through the ads. Yeah, Scotland was wicked though, and yeah, I guess going through this as well is gonna bring up so many memories of what happened there and everything like that. Some of the worst ones, and to be fair, I had a lot of fuck ups all this there. And if anyone was following along with TikTok and stuff, yeah, I actually did a lot of posts over there while I was away in Scotland, and if you want to check it out, I believe it is actually linked over here with my Insta and my X, and also my Discord. So if you want to join the community, then feel free. Oh, come on. I just want some good music so I can read an epic narrative. This is not part of Scotland. I don't know why it's there. It's really fucking annoying. Okay, here we go. In the farthest reaches and the darkest dimensions of reality, there will and always has been a voice. Breath on the back of one's neck, something observing, waiting, infesting the psyche, able to entice the most strong-willed, forged from before the nothingness, from the shattered Empyrean remnants of the oldest one. Of the oldest one. Of the oldest one. Of the oldest one. Acutely preying on the weak and desperate, causing violent outbreaks in the calmest of cultures. Obtained and utilised by few through the birth of the first concepts to an age of pure energy. Commonly mistakenly hailing in myth as the mighty weapon Mjolnir, the weapon misfortune, and Hephaestus' hammer. However, though access to this infinitesimal power is almost an addiction that one would call possession, it can only be found where one cannot look, must never look, straight into the eye of the observer. A task that drives many mad, few homicidal, others face a fate worse than death, as they fall into reality unlike anything anyone could possibly conceptualize. When awoken, the seeker will find themselves in a liminal space, unnerving to the eye, something whispering in thy ear. They feel an urge to turn, overcome by greed and promise for the power they've always dreamt of. They all do. Upon touch, it can never be put down, until death leeching itself to you like a vampiric parasite. As you bear the most pain you've ever felt, times infinity, so does this newfound power grow. According to myths and legends surrounding said hammer, it has been told to engrave the names of those felled by its force within the hilt, as if sentience, a dead consciousness almost. Though, as there always is a cost, for every victory with the hammer, the user feels the pain worsen, even during the screams of the damned, wanting to end themselves. Yet the hammer forces them to stay alive, until it kills the user itself. Upon which it shreds the current pain of reality down to nothing, once again, waiting, cracked, cackling, cooling, and whispering. And so now you know. Come, find me, feel the power I shall bestow. And never let anyone or creature stand in your way. I am yours, and you shall be mine. But yeah, that's basically it. And the twist at the end, obviously, is that the hammer itself is actually narrating its own story, speaking to you through your mind by infesting and enticing you. That's the whole kind of twist with this narrative. That the hammer, the Bane of Anorak, it is essentially this kind of thing that reaches across reality through time and kind of plays with your mind, making you seek it. And obviously by that, it causes a lot of people to get aggressive with each other, saying that they're going to wield the hammer. Eventually, if someone does, they end up going on a killing spree, because it actually mentally links you to everyone you've ever thought about hurting or killing, and you end up doing that. And every time you kill them, you hear the screams of the damned, or the people you've killed, or the cries out, wanting to rend yourself. The hammer keeps you alive until it kills you yourself when it senses someone of greater power, when the cycle starts again. Therefore, shredding the reality that it currently is in to basically nothingness, creating a liminal space once again, and then yeah, that's basically, it's like a cycle essentially. But also, the Bane of Anorak, I actually put into kind of like a reference. So anorak in British slang essentially means a person who has a very strong interest or perhaps obsessive one, which kind of befits the Hammer's sort of corruptive presence, but also the kind of will that someone will go to actually get to the hammer itself. It becomes like an obsessive possession in its, like, they will literally kill or like eliminate anything that gets in their way, essentially. It is an unbridled addiction. But more on Scotland, hey? Right, let's go right to the bottom. Right to the bottom, because I'm gonna do some stuff here, and it's gonna be hella fun. You're already seeing a little sneak peek of what happened over in good old Scotland. I might even swivel the camera around so you can see me at the same time. Could be fun. There I am. I think I took so many pictures. Yes, I have a bit of photography addiction. If I see something that I really like the look of, I would take a photo of it. Not all photos can be great, and sometimes they do turn out grainy, which is why some of them have, unfortunately. But yeah. But if we go back to here like this, no, that's not what I wanted. We can get back to some tunes. Right, so I guess let's get straight into it. Where is the little dude that I had some somewhere? So, about a night before I went ahead and made this little dude here. And if we maybe turn some lights on, you'll be able to see him better. But basically, this is a little dragon dude that I made as sort of like a place marker for every place that I was going to go. For some reason, halfway through the trip, I completely forgot this in my bag and just left it. So they only appear at the very start and the end. You'll also notice this dragon actually has the non-binary flag on them. Because why the hell not? If anyone didn't notice that, well, I guess you've been told now. Yeah, I think it's pretty wicked. Yeah, and it does literally just stand up on its own as well. Little place marker there. And I can even use it as like an IRL thing if I want to. I might even just have it on the side here for the rest of the stream somewhere. I think just there. Yeah, okay. And then essentially this is me talking to you guys basically from a little avatar. If we just go like that, and look, Eddie's there forever now, or they're there forever now. But yeah, getting right into it. So first off, obviously, we went to the London Underground, which is this little pic here. They are going to take a while to load, which is the only thing. And the problem is with Pinterest, you can't scroll through images, which would be nice. But yeah, as you can see, London Underground. And then from there, we from London Bridge. Great, now Pinterest has been fucky. Great. Oh, you fucking bastard. Is it going to scroll to the top every single time? Oh, you fucking schmuck. It's going to scroll to the top every... Oh, for fuck's sake. Something always goes wrong with IRL. Whenever I plan stuff, it goes wrong. Fucking... Of course it does. Right, tell you what. We're going to change this up then. We are basically just going to do face-to-face stuff. And then in terms of all the pictures, which we're scrolling through now, I guess you're getting a little sneak peek. I will use these to essentially depict what happens from what I can remember. And then I will actually make this Pinterest board accessible for you guys to look through if you wanna. And yeah, I might even edit VOD, like I might even edit these videos into a VOD eventually. But right, let's put this back up then. We'll have to flip the cam and just do it as a normal thing, unfortunately, which is quite annoying. Unless we just don't click on the pictures, but the problem is less quality for you guys. Is there a way I can move this closer? There is actually, yes, I can do this, because this is not really a laptop, it's more of an iPad. I can actually take the keyboard off, and yeah, there we go. And actually now we can have this little dude on this side a bit better. If I move this all a bit closer to you lot. Problem is I'm filming on an iPad, and then filming my laptop, so it's not the best view in the world. But yeah, so yeah, we started off in London Bridge, and then obviously we went from there up to King's Cross St Pancras, which is this just over here. And then, of course, we went ahead and got on the train over to Scotland. And the very first thing when you get out of Waverley train station is the Brewheimer, and it is essentially this massive brewing place with a big old metal cauldron outside. It looks exceptional. And everything in Edinburgh is so old, but it mixes with the modern stuff really well. It's been done really well. You can see a really old building from the outside. It would be sort of modern and done up on the inside, but with still some of the elements of the past. And there is so much kind of lore and history in Scotland about folklore, like fairies and trolls and goblins, and there is just so much. It was like an overload for me just being in Edinburgh. And on top of that, yeah, literally as soon as you get there, there's the Flesh Market Close, which basically leads up to Victoria Street, which is the main kind of bit that you'll see in a lot of photos with the banners going across and stuff. And I took some pretty wicked photos just here. Look, there's me just there. But yeah, I got this really wicked photo. What I started doing with my phone, actually, because these are all phone photos, I should mention as well. I didn't actually take a camera with me. What I've started doing is, because I actually cracked the back of my camera on my phone, I've actually been using the front. And what I found works really well, especially with making the pictures better quality, is actually putting my phone upside down on the floor and taking it from a ant's perspective of the street. And it creates this literally an ant's perspective of the street, but it makes some really, really good sort of one-point perspective pieces. I think it looks really cool. But yeah, you can get some really cool effects with this. I took this amazing photo. Basically, I was just photographing Victoria Street, as you do, while crossing, and by chance, I had this guy crossing at the same time as me, completely unplanned for it, because when I'm taking photos like this, I can't actually see what I'm doing. And yeah, he just perchance walks past at the right time, and it captured an amazing moment. It has to put it in black and white because it feels like a documentary photo. So that was wicked. I found a fringe shop as well, because why the hell not? It looked artsy and fun and stuff. It's got painterly bits on the outside. I found this awesome store where they've got, basically it's a tourist store, but they've got skull and dragon cups for beer and stuff. I didn't get one. I did, however, acquire this little dude here, which is No Little Dragon. And if we just turn the lights on real quick, you should be able to see it a bit better. Aha, there we go. So, a little green dragon, as you can see just here. And it is actually made out of metal as well. But yeah, and he's on little crystalline bits, as you can see. So that's pretty sick. And yeah, it's been sitting up in my room with my other little bits that I've got here and there. Yeah. What I might actually do is, instead of having to turn on that light, I'm going to go ahead and... should put a bit... Yeah, you can see this a bit better now. What I'm going to go and do is actually just take this out of here. I've got a ring light on my desk that I hardly ever use. I got at IKEA when I made the desk. Oh, I just had a very interesting idea. I might at some point just prime this whole desk and paint it with Posca. And just have a little bit, a little narrative and story running up and down it. I think that'd be sick. But yeah, you can see this thing a bit better now. In the light, there we go. Little green dragon, red eyes, yellow thing. They did have purple ones, but the face was a bit weird, and so I didn't get that one. They did have much bigger ones. This one was only £30, which is pretty good because it hasn't smashed up or anything, and it's sturdy. I can't even bend anything with it with my hands. So yeah, that was really wicked. And actually, speaking of that shop, they did have. Where is he gone? Where's Calcifer gone? They'd actually have these in the shop as well. I'll just flip this back around for you guys. Where is it? Right, that. They did actually have these guys in the shop. Sorry. these guys in the shop as well, but they were about 35 quid. I got this in Fort William for about 7 quid. Which is stupid, because Fort William is like an amazing place. There is some more expensive stuff. I got this in Fort William for 7 quid. In Edinburgh, they're 35, which is fucking just extortionate. To be fair, Victoria Street is a very touristy place, so I can understand it. And yeah, guaranteed if you go to like London and go to a tourist shop, the price is going to be higher and stuff like that. It's essentially like a tourist trap. But yeah, I got this ride for 7 quid. It's been through thick and thin as well. It's been through rain and thunder and hail and wind and stuff. And yeah, basically I had him like, because I've got one of those travel bags, and his head like poking out the side like that. So his head's been wet, it's been dry, it's been snowed on. It's wicked. There was one point where it was just like completely stiff, where it had gotten so cold. Because where it had got wet and then really cold really quickly during the night, it basically frozen. Yeah. But more of Fort William later, and more on Flight Singlenco later. Back to Edinburgh. So I actually ended up staying in Edinburgh for about 2 or 3 days. For the time I went for a week basically. Stayed in an A&O hostel, which was basically about 5 minutes walk from city centre. And that's the place you can see here. They're also, for some fucking odd reason, right outside a hostel, there was this cool little bridge area that I'm going to be using for like reference stuff. But I don't know if you can see it too well. There was a bar with a cow's arse, like sticking out one side with the others, and then a head was like round the corner, which was really quite funny and cool. There is like so much stuff in Edinburgh that you can find, like the old stuff, the new stuff, the mix between it. Some of them were like weird, quirky places. And just even like standstill views from anywhere in the place are just fucking amazing. I got this really cool shot of the 2 dragons together, as you can see just here. We'll actually zoom in on this right now. Yeah, there we go. 2 little dragons on the windowsill together in my hostel room. And in terms of travel, actually, I mostly walked a lot of it and did some bus travel as well. I forgot we have to scroll the way down. For fuck's sake, I can't click on any of the pictures, can I? No matter how bad I want to click on the pictures, I mustn't, because yeah, it's just going to reset the whole thing, which is really fucking annoying. So yeah, honestly, we did so much. What the fuck? Why did it just... Oh my god. I should just say, we did so much. We also had to get so much off. A week is just not... A week is nowhere near long enough to do all of Scotland. I wanted to go up to Warrego and Wick and all of that. It's just way too far up. I quickly realised while I was there that not only the bus times are a bit fucky, because sometimes you'll get a bus from like 9 a.m. Bus times from 9 a.m. till like 9 in the evening, and then other times and places it will be like 8 a.m. in the morning till about 6 in the afternoon, which isn't great for some places I was going to. Also, Safari needs to fix their fucking priorities. At least 5 times out of 10 while I was there, the bus stops that were apparently that they weren't there. Some of the bus stops just don't exist anymore, and they still show up on maps. Which constituted to a couple fuck-ups, which meant I had to cut off some really amazing stuff. But I've got a little dragon on like a street view there, got a little dragon in front of... Oh, we got a little picture of me in front of the... one of the monuments there, and I actually got some really amazing shot. Basically, this is just me holding my phone upside down and backwards and doing a straight up shot. We're going to edit these photos on top of each other to get like a full piece. Got Dragon down the street, which is basically this photo over here. And then we've got me basically just sitting next to the background. That's the castle up there, actually on the hill. And you've got a bunch of houses down here. And then I think that's actually the National Art Gallery just there, which I didn't have time to pop into. Some more like amazing like skyline view pictures just here. This was the street where that... So this is the top side of where that bridge is. Down below where my hostel is, just on the other side, like behind me there. But this is also where the bus station is. And there's actually something called Colton's Hill in Edinburgh, which is kind of adjacent to Arthur's Seat, which is another... It's like Edinburgh has their own little mountain. It's not really a mountain, it's more just like a hilly walk. It takes about it took me about half an hour to get up and down. And actually found some like precarious spots I could stand on, but I found it quite like adrenaline filling and stuff, and you know what, I actually kind of like it. And then of course we have Nelson's Tower on top of Colton's Hill, which is basically like a castle line tower with a couple of windows going up inside it. There is actually a little fence bit that you can go stand behind. You're not really meant to. There's a hole in the fence that you can stand behind on Nelson's Tower, that you get a much better view of the city of Edinburgh and Arthur's Seat on. So if you ever go round the back where the muddy bit is, and there should be a little fence, like a green fence on the side, you can just slip through a hole under the fence and take a photo there. But yeah, this thing in the background here, I stupidly thought this was Ben Nevis while I was there. I'm a fucking idiot. Crazy thing, I've played Forza 4, and Forza 4's map is essentially Edinburgh and some other bits that have been mashed together. And they're not quite as close together as they are on Forza, because it has Glencoe and all of that. But yeah, so Edinburgh, I basically knew where everything was because of Forza, which is kind of crazy because of the parallels. And that is the thing. There is a lot of games that use references of real world stuff, such as Assassin's Creed, which uses basically Greece just turn back the clock with. But yeah, I knew where mostly everything was because of Forza, which is exceptional. And you've got some more photos here. This is actually on top of the National Monument just here. There's like a... It looks like an old Roman sort of, or Greek sort of pillar house, but just like the front of it. That's up on the hill just here. And then we've actually got the Scottish, I believe this is Scottish Government building just here, which is very kind of, it's a very robust kind of brutish architecture building, and it's very symmetrical as well. You've got some amazing photos here. Some of the clouds I actually saw as well were on top of the Colton's Hill, look like dragons, so I may be using them for like cloud art and stuff in the future. Saw this wicked little house on the side, thought it looked pretty cool, especially for like Halloween setting with like the orange light spinning out of this more like browny tan brick. It works so well against the background. We've got a more sort of like sun-spotted picture just up here. And then, yeah, we've got Arthur's Seat for the next day. Because of the composition of the environment in Scotland, and just... I know it seems like a very rainy, mild place, but when the sun does come out and it mixes with the clouds and the colours on the ground, you just get some of the most amazing composited images ever. Like the grass here itself, it details so well and it looks insane. And yeah, it just feels like something straight out of Lord of the Rings or fucking, I don't know, what other fantasy films? Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, fucking... I don't know. Any fantasy film, it feels like the environment that the characters walk through. And even just here, where you can see the city off in the distance, I don't know, it just gives like a really... I don't know how to explain it. It's like an unbelievable feel. I've climbed a mountain in Wales once, about 2 months ago, but yeah, this was a whole new experience. And it's mainly because Arthur's Seat basically just has a tarmac path that you can walk all the way up the mountain. There's a couple of different routes. I actually took a little shortcut, which is where I got some of the pics from. Wait, did I not put the rest of the... Where are the rest of the Arthur's Seat pics? Don't tell me they didn't... Oh, you fucking kidding me. No, that's it. No, a lot of the Arthur's Seat stuff I filmed instead of put pics on. And all of that film stuff will be over on TikTok. So yeah, again, if you want to check out the rest of the media that I took basically while I was over there, a lot of it is on my socials, which I said are linked over here. So yeah, a lot of the video... I don't think you can post videos on Pinterest. Wait, you can post like GIFs and stuff on Pinterest, but in terms of like actual stuff, like 3-4 minute videos, they're over on TikTok as like compilations, and it's basically all the stuff I did over at like Arthur's Seat and stuff like that, and the precarious sort of bits I found. But moving slightly onwards, we found this street here, which is basically just about the back of the house. And that's the thing, you can literally walk through any street and you'll have like an amazing view, especially if you've got an eye for photography, as much as I do, and I know some people have. We'll get back to this sandy bit a bit later. Basically, just outside of Edinburgh, there is a town called the Goblin Hut. Yes, there's a town called Goblin Hut, which is fucking crazy. It's a wonderful, very mystical, magical, almost fairy tale place, with like the river series you can see. What ended up happening, I saw bagpipesmen there. Essentially, the lore behind this place, it's kind of crazy. The Goblin Hut, or the, it's, the lore behind it is that you can actually see from this picture here, just, you see like the doors down here. Essentially, there is a room underground in this castle, where it's been filled in, obviously. Like, this bit's been filled in, but there should be a staircase here that goes all the way down to a room, where they say they used to speak to the devil, and it is literally pitch black down there. I did venture down a little bit, I didn't go all the way down, just because of timing and stuff, but yeah, it's pretty much pitch black at the bottom. And there's meant to be a room where people would talk to the devil and stuff. And it was a very sort of satanic, suspicious place. But the actual castle itself, it feels almost inhumane. Like, the way that it's been built and the way that it looks, it doesn't feel like a man-made castle. It looks like it's been made by some sort of hobgoblin creatures, and it's very hidden within the woods. It's actually off the side of a golf course, which you can access pretty well via a footpath, which I wish I should have known on the way there, because what I actually ended up doing is, while walking back, I ended up straggling through the golf course and then actually hopping over a river and actually having to use the sun as a guide to get back because my phone was low on battery. Ended up finding the footpath, missed my bus, walked to the next town over. A very nice person who was in a cab company was picking up their son from a pub, so I obviously then basically I got a cab for like 20 quid over to the next town over, got a bus back, had to switch there, got very tired when I got back, I had to sleep. Actually, while I was on the golf course, I saw this like amazing double rainbow, and I actually made some really got a kind of like indent on the lens. Next day over was when I had to leave Edinburgh, unfortunately. Got this really cool pic outside of my hostel, and just off to the left, which is where I'm going to be visiting in a minute, is the Witchcraft Museum, which I found very, very intriguing. I also found this amazing shop full of socks that is slightly out of focus, but you can see it says magic as fuck. There's also... yeah, I'm pretty sure this shop exists in the UK, in England as well. So I might be hitting it up at some point because they have some really funny designs. They're very kind of LGBTQ plus pride based as well, which is wicked. I saw this cool sort of blue dragon supporting like a pillar as well. They're very fond of their dragons and dogs, I must admit, as well. And I saw this lovely little thing. We've actually got a dog over exactly like the one in this picture. Obviously this is a mannequin, not an actual dog, but yeah, I thought it was quite funny. I got some photos of the steeple at the church as well, and the church itself actually has red windows, which gives it a very vampiric kind of dark fantasy feel. Did the same sort of technique with the foam kind of upwards, but also got some amazing shots where the clouds are sort of like bleached out and the church really has this sort of gleam to it. And I don't think entrance was allowed on the day because I don't think it was open, but the doors are actually yellow, which is fucking awesome. And then you've actually got the lamppost in here providing a bit of like symmetry to the picture. Next up, there was basically an illusion, the House of Mirrors exhibition going on. Again, not open on the day that I was there. I had no idea it was there. You walk up to the castle, there are basically just these funhouse mirrors on your right hand side, and I took some really cool pictures. Just so you can see like my face is all warped and everything. I've been like shrunk and squished in this picture over here. As you can just see there. I thought it was pretty wicked. Saw this cool lantern on the way down as well. There's so many like streets around these that are named like the Flesh Market or Butcher's Close, or like some really like medieval names. you've got the actual side of the church here, which is pretty cool for like Minecraft reference and building and stuff. So the castle, I didn't actually have time to go into, just up here, and they're actually building like an arena around it with cranes and stuff, which did kind of ruin the environment a bit. You can kind of see it here, like the arena's just there and the castle's just off in the distance, but I did also get a photo of the pub and the alley just here. I found this cool little tower, which I think is just a little chapel on the side of a road. And then obviously we've got actually a top view of Victoria Street, which I didn't know you could access until the final day. And we've got this amazing photo just here, as you can see, of like the rail really interacting with the flow of the picture. And then, yeah, we actually ended up going to the, what's his name? The Greyfriars Bobby, which is essentially, from what I can tell, from what I can remember, I will actually look it up now because I don't want to get this all wrong. Right. The Legends of Greyfriars Bobby tells of a Skye Terrier who, after his owner John Gray died in 1858, guarded Gray's grave in Edinburgh, Greyfriars Kirkyard, for 14 years until his own death in 1872. And it kind of reminds me of the dog that waited for his owner in Japan. Who actually now has a statue erected in their honour as well, and it does just show you the loyalty that dogs will like go to, just I guess to protect their owners or like rely on the people who kind of, I guess they live with. Dogs are my best friend. There's actually a pub and an inn named after the named after the dog. Which is just behind the statue here, which actually has the lore on it over here, and I might even do like a little animation or a narrative on that for uni at some point. I found an artist who does some pretty cool stuff just here. I think the name is actually on the piece, but it doesn't show the full picture. But they basically do Edinburgh, but they only paint it on fire, which is really quite a dark look on everything, but quite interesting with how like the colours can play around and everything. And how everything's kind of silhouetted. And now we get onto the Witchcraft Museum. There is, like I said, a lot more video on this over on TikTok rather than the pictures. And probably we will go through TikTok at some point. Basically, it is the history of witchcraft in Scotland and most of the UK, and how it came about. You've got all these like runic stones and the tarot cards. Obviously, the tarot cards. You've got all the witches' outfits, the association with satanic worship, and what would actually happen a lot in medieval times is that, for anyone who doesn't know, basically anyone that was, basically it was mainly women, some men as well, but mainly women, that the kind of higher ups deemed that they were witches. They would either drown, or burn, and the kind of superstition was that if they drowned, they weren't a witch, but if they drowned and then came back from the dead, or if they floated out the water, they were a witch. So it was a very kind of fucked up kind of way of testing, and the same kind of goes with the burning at the stake. If they didn't burn, they weren't a witch. If they did burn, they were a witch. And so they'd end up killing the innocent anyway. Obviously, it was eventually abolished by, what's his name? I can't remember. But the whole idea was that if another witch said that another person was a witch, then they were a witch. If they had knowledge or they spoke up, they were a witch. Basically, it was a very misogynistic time in history, and basically anything that a woman did outside of what they were supposed to do was considered kind of witchcraft in a way, which is, yeah, severely fucked up and a horrible, horrible fucking torment. But obviously witchcraft culture now has been embraced in so much like pop culture and movies and horror stuff. It's even in Marvel and like DC and everything. And there's people who still kind of have the superstitions around it, and who kind of still like believe in the crystals and everything. And I got some cool stickers from the witchcraft stuff here, which you can actually just see on the book that I've got on the side. If we flip the light back on real quick, they are actually, no, they're on my laptop, which is this thing here. I can actually just flip this around real quick now. You can actually see them just there on the back. These exact stickers I got actually on the book. I had them on the book at the time, sitting on my laptop with me, because I was packing light for this trip. But yeah, and then we've got some more photos of Edinburgh. But again, a lot of the video stuff is over on TikTok. So if you want to go check it out, if you want to see what we got up to, if you want to hear my voice while we're in Edinburgh, see me wearing the mask in Edinburgh, then yeah, feel free to check it out after the stream if you want to. Yeah, we took some more photos in Edinburgh just before we left. I went to the oldest cult shop. Unfortunately, it wasn't open for the time that I was there. But it's essentially the oldest occult in Edinburgh. And it has all this very sort of superstitious folklore, fantasy stuff, which I thought was wicked. Took some photos against the window of all these different stuff they have on show. There's Pan there. There's a lot of dragons, basically. Like a witch and a warlock. And then just outside of Edinburgh, there's this place called Jupiter Artland. And it's essentially a sculpture park. I think you've got about, I have the map somewhere. It's about about 30 different sculptures. And one of them is actually an amethyst mine, which you can see here. And they are literal amethyst geodes that they've taken from other places and stuck into place. Now, what they've tried to do is glue everything together, because the sign can only be there because someone's done it. But it says, please do not steal or take the amethysts. Now, I have a bit of a moral dilemma. I found an amethyst that had fallen out or had been jutted out by someone on the floor and took it home with me. I've now lost it, and it really fucking pisses me off because it was like a full purple one. But yeah, karma, I guess. It all had fallen out, and so I don't know whether... Yeah. I took this really cool like liminal shot inside of like a outline of a church, but made of like pure white metal structure. And then we got to kind of the main sort of thing with Jupiter Artland. The main sort of place that most people go to is this sort of very still water park with these hills with like they almost like stacked. The hills are almost like stacks, and they have like steps up to them, paths up to them. They've got this weird little like tadpole things on top. Don't know why they're white. But yeah, you've got this really still water, and it creates this really cool reflection. Obviously, the photos there are absolutely amazing. I think it's probably one of my favourites just here. You've got like a shotgun leaning against a tree in the woods, which is massive. You've got these faceless looking down little girls in the woods, which I find really creepy, especially this one. I think is probably the best photo I took there. And it kind of reminds me of the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, that can only really move when you're not looking at them because they go into quantum lock. And they're essentially made of stone, which I thought was really, really cool. Benji! Oh, there's people back. We haven't even got like a quarter of the way through. A little bridge, there was a hole with a cage around it, and then we saw a sheep. A lot of the sheep you'll see in Scotland actually don't have their horns taken off or their tails taken off, so it's kind of weird to see sheep with their full tails, because they do actually have tails, and also with their horns, because they're usually, in England you don't see them with their horns. It was quite weird. We'll get back to this in a minute. I've just got to go say hello to the peeps and everything. Yeah? Yep. Be back in a minute, guys. Actually, tell you what, I'll just keep music on for you lot, and then we can get back to it. well. My legs are a bit sore. I went to the gym yesterday and did basically just all leg workout. I've woken up this morning and the underside of my thighs are like... It feels like I'm being stabbed constantly. Oh, music. Right, it's going to be a lot lighter now as well, because they don't like it when I close my curtains. Sat this morning.
Right, let me have a wee wee. Who's my go, Benj?
Where was she on my bed? Where was she? Where was she on my bed? I'm trying to ask you. Oh, right, I'm back. So, pick up where we left off. Jupiter Island. Yeah, so the sheep and everything, quite weird to see them with tails, because, yeah, so there's a little pool park here. Well, it wasn't open for the time that I was there, unfortunately, got there a bit late. But there was like this sort of feast table. I don't know whether this was a sculpture or just laid out, because it was. And then there's a little sort of funny quip here. They had basically a sign pointing to actual Jupiter, which is 893 to 964 million kilometers away, directly from this point. I don't know how they measured that, but and then we went to yes, yeah. We ended up actually travelling up to Aberdeen, which was old faff. Basically, I went to one of the bus stops, didn't know where the other one was, because, again, maps is not reliable. I went to a bus stop, like between Edinburgh and Aberdeen, and the bit I was meant to change it, I ended up going back and forth between about 10 times, because it doesn't show you where the actual fucking bus stop is. So I had to ask around a bunch, and people weren't particularly helpful. I asked about 5 people, and the 5th person, they actually told me where the actual bus stop was, and then I finally got to that point. Got to Aberdeen about 9 o'clock at night, ended up losing my green jumper that I took with me, and also the pan for the charging bit, so that was awesome. Luckily I had a portable with me. But yeah, never mind this, I don't know why that's there either. But while we were in Aberdeen, we visited a very, very, very important place to me, and kind of, I guess, one of the greatest novels of all time as well. And it has a lot of history behind it as well. It's also a little church on the way. There is a castle about half an hour outside of Aberdeen, called Slains Castle. There's actually 2 of them. There's Old Slains Castle, which was torn down and blown up in medieval times, and there's New Slains Castle, which, for anyone that doesn't know, was actually the inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is crazy. Yeah, it actually has like a little story outside when you go visit the castle. I think it's a National Trust site, and you can actually walk through the castle itself. And even on the way up, there's these ruined sort of little structures. I don't know if these are from the war and they've been bombed, because there are little holes, like cracks inside. You can see where a door would have been, because some of this is more straight, whereas like the door up here is more like broken. There's some lovely like foresty bits on the way as well. It was a really wicked photo, and I'm probably going to use these for like scale them up massively and have them be like massive monuments, like a desert setting. And then there's just like a massive fucking wheat field there as well. So I took some photos there, and yeah, I got some really cool like perspective upshot photos inside the structure. And there's like windows in the place as well, and like holes that have been blown out. And something makes me wonder, is this where the servants lived for Slains Castle? Because New Slains Castle essentially got bombs during one of the wars, and it's why it's all ruined and everything. But I guess, yeah, it looks insane. And the best part about this castle, it's right on the coast. It's right on the coast. There's cliffs and everything there. And again, the contrast of colours, specifically with the weather we had on the day, just makes some super duper interesting visuals with the colour composition and the kind of detail you can get with everything together. So actually coming to the castle itself, most of it's intact in kind of together. It's one of the most intact ruins I've seen, especially since it's been bombed and everything, or burnt down. But yeah, there is actually rooms you can still go into. Some of the stairwells in these towers you can actually still go up to onto the 2nd floor. It doesn't go all throughout, because obviously a lot of it has been destroyed. You can actually go up this tower over here as well. But yeah, I took some really cool, again, sort of like liminal shots just down like the 1-point perspective hallways. You can actually see where the floors would have been. And the layer we're on here is actually the basement. Because at the very front of the house, there's a staircase that basically goes up into the main bit, which we'll get into in a minute. I've got some lovely photos of me here, which we can actually use for like character reference inside like a hallway or like a ruin fort. We got this really cool sort of like doorway, sort of massive window entrance bit here, which actually overlook that. Basically, on the other side of this, that's just a literal drop-off cliff, which is kind of crazy. Couple of door picks, and again, as I mentioned, this is on the coast, so we got some like, the best way I can really describe it is like a Microsoft background. If anyone's ever had like a old Microsoft laptop, a Microsoft Windows laptop, you get these backgrounds that are kind of generated from pictures from all over. This genuinely reminds me of them so much. But also, again, these can be used so well in like a fantasy setting, and they feel like proper photography photos as well, which I'm really proud of. Especially with the composition of the rock formations and everything that are here. You've even got like a little crescent that sort of arcs outwards, which I think was really cool. And the way you can actually see the whites around the base of the rocks and capture the perfect moment, and the sun gleaming, glittering off the surface of the ocean. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And to be honest with you guys, I don't really mind the cold or the rain. I don't think my body like regulates temperature regularly, so I was t-shirt most of the day, except for jumper. And that's the thing, I don't feel the heat as much, so I can actually just wear like full jumpers in full heat, and it won't really affect me in too much. But yeah, you can see, so this actually here is where the steps would have been to get up to the castle, and essentially the bit that you walk through on the base layer is down here. And so you're walking into the basement, the actual bit, the level that you go up to, which you call the second floor, is actually the base floor of the house itself. And yeah, you can actually, like I said, go fully inside and everything. And I got some outside shots just over here as well. I got this really cool sort of one-point perspective shot just from the bottom and top, from like that bit you can stand on where the front of the house actually is. And then just got some really cool shots of the castle just slightly off to the side, with the coast sort of like really taking up the main central part of the picture, with one sort of more off to the left and one sort of more middle, but I think that's sick. I just got this really cool shot, basically on a little dip that you can go down to, which is where this cove is, which creates kind of like a bottleneck point of view, which is, yeah, freaking awesome. And then from there, we went to Forby Sands, which is essentially like it's kind of like Canvas Sands, but it's like a mini desert just on the coast, and it's really wicked. I actually ended up writing my name in the sands. Did a little video of it again, which is over on TikTok and my socials, so if you want to check it out, feel free. And that was super duper cool. We got some really cool like grassy mountain shots here as well. And obviously this could be great for like a desert scene or a Sahara scene if we're painting it eventually. Now, after sleeping over, we actually left Aberdeen and went on our way to Fort William. And something you pass on the way to Fort William, something very, very kind of iconic, I guess, in touristy kind of eyes in terms of Scotland, is the Loch Ness, which I didn't know actually has a castle next to it, which is this thing just down here. And yeah, wicked, amazing. It is so big. It is so stupidly big. All the lochs in Scotland, they're so stupidly big. It's like the largest body of water I've seen that's not an ocean or a sea. It's kind of crazy. And when we arrived in Fort William, you can actually see this mountain here is actually Ben Nevis, and Fort William is basically a town at the base of Ben Nevis, leading up to Kinlochleven and Glencoe and the Devil's Staircase, which is actually basically a mountain pass that you can take from Fort William over the mountain down to the end of Glencoe and towards the Bridge of Orkney, which I would like to do at some point, because I actually met a dude on the way there who was my age and also quite hot. And yeah, and just smiling and stuff, and yeah, we said good luck to each other, and yeah, that was that. And I wish I'd said more, and yeah, and he was from England too, and yeah. But aside from that, yeah, so Fort William itself, it's wonderful there. And again, I got some amazing phone shots from like an ant's perspective, using the pier and the seaweed and the shells in the water that are washed up. And what I actually saw a lot while I was there is, while the tide's out, there is just so many people on the kind of bit down here where the water would usually be, looking for old bottles, pottery and everything. Because it's not polluted, but there's just so much stuff hidden in between the rocks. There's like bottles from the 1800s, like literal full-on vases and everything that people are literally finding and piecing back together and then going ahead and selling or keeping in their house. And it is, I guess, a bit like using a metal detector to find stuff, but you don't need it because it literally is just there. I found like a bunch of glass bottles and even like a vase with some writing on it as well, which I ended up handing off to them, which was wicked. But what I would actually like to do at some point, if I ever get the chance, is go and find fossils in one of those places, or take a metal detector out and find some stuff, because I think it'd be really, really cool. But yeah, got some amazing shots here, great for reference and everything. And if you're wondering what this thing is down here, I actually found a really intriguing boat. There's like a whale, but there's like a whale boat, and it is literally a boat that's shaped like a whale. Like, so you can see just here, like the bottom bit, that's all the boat bit, and then this top bit that goes on top essentially just is a roof, but it's, yeah, really quite cool. Quite weird, and yeah, I thought it was quite funny. Oh yeah, can't believe you forgot to mention. If any of you have ever watched Harry Potter, which some of you may have, indeed, basically the train and bridge that run in Harry Potter are this train here, which runs across the viaduct, passing through Glencoe, coming from Fort Williams. This is the actual train that you can get on. I didn't go on it, it just pulled into the station exactly the right time, which was wonderful, and I got this long shot of it. I feel like the viaduct is a bit overrated. It's literally a bridge, you just go see it and walk away from it, whereas a lot of the other stuff, you're walking through the environment, and you can take photos as you go, and yeah. I'd rather be able to like walk through the stuff and take photos of stuff that you wouldn't really take photos of that haven't been mentioned and stuff. Like, finding stuff yourself is like really exciting sometimes. And there's a place called Steel Waterfall, the Grey Mares Waterfall, which is like a local trail that leads you up to a waterfall with like a little board and a plank that you can actually go fully up to the waterfall with. And I saw this like really cool little sort of like fairy pool, fairy tale sort of river on the way here. There's even actually a little seat that someone's carved out into a log here that you can sit down on. I thought it was really wicked. And then, yeah, just a couple selfies here and there by the waterfall. And you can actually walk all the way up along this wooden plank to get up to the waterfall itself. You're not really meant to do it without safety equipment, but I took my chances, and you know what, the risk was worth it, because I'm literally where the waterfall basically plunges into the pool, just here as you can see. It's not massive, but it is quite beautiful in an instance, and yeah, there is warning of death sign here. I thought it was quite cool. It's like a little portrait, and the detail even just on this picture, I know it's literally just as a sign, is quite cool. And then we made our way to Kinlochleven. Well, no, sorry, I should just mention that the Grey Mares Waterfall is in Kinlochleven, and this is Kinlochleven. It is essentially a town built at the base of Loch Leven, just on the other side of Glencoe, essentially, a little bit away from Ballalulish, and it's exceptional there. It doesn't feel like Scotland. It doesn't feel like a Scottish place. The water is so still. The mountains are so, like, I don't know. I don't really know how to put it. I took this really cool photo of like where you put the phone sideways against the still water and you can't really tell which is which I thought was pretty wicked. And then we got this photo at night of just this mountain as a silhouette, which is kind of ominous because the lights here kind of look like eyes with the mouth being the city. But I've got this really cool pic here which kind of looks a bit tropical and again not really like Scotland. Yeah, it's Kinlochleven, one of my favourite places I went to. A bit pricey, I must admit, but yeah, I ended up eating a whole tub of Ben and Jerry's while I was there during the night and watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then we finally made it to Glencoe. Honestly, my favourite place I've been to while I was in Scotland. There's basically a visitor centre just up a ways from the Glencoe Junction, and when you're there, they've actually got a guy on a map which is like a big 3D map scale model of like Glencoe itself. And he'll tell you where everything is, and there's a path along Glencoe that takes you through all of these sites and the mountains and everything. And it's like essentially like a footpath or a trail that you can go down. But yeah, wicked. And there's a house ruin there where 9 people were murdered back in, I think... Yeah, it's the Tarsain as Aegin. So... Yeah, so back in 1662, 9 people were murdered in a house, which is the ruin just here on the right-hand side. And it was basically a family, they were killed by soldiers passing through the lands. Basically, a couple days later, that same soldier went into a pub, and while in the pub, they saw a child who they thought that they'd killed in the house. And they felt this overwhelming thing of guilt. And there's this kind of lore built around Glencoe now that anyone who is killed in the past or who's going to kill in their future, this sort of child will appear as like an omen and haunt them with their grief and their guilt after what they've done, essentially. And there's actually 9 pine trees buried where the people were buried after they were killed in the area, except the 9th one, because there's this mysterious lore that there's this sort of ghostly boy running around spreading fear and guilt to the kind of soldiers and killers of the Glencoe area. I don't think it's even just the killers, I think it's just people with guilt in Glencoe the boy appears in front of, and yeah. There's a whole kind of like folklore and superstition around it. It's really, really cool. And as I mentioned, Scotland's got so much folklore and stuff, and it's really, really wicked. I actually even invented a little bit of folklore while I was here myself of a dragon, which I've got just over here. I'll go get it now. And it's basically to do with the clouds and the mountains. On the right page. Aha, here we go. I did this. I did finish it off with in uni the other day, with the blues and everything. But this is the Anorca. Don't know where the name came from. Just kind of flew out my head. But basically, a gargantuan beast with the appearance of a Highland cow, towering above the peaks of Glencoe, casting enormous shadows, which one would think are clouds. So essentially, the idea is that because when you're in Glencoe, there's always clouds above the mountains, but they cast these enormous, and I mean truly enormous shadows over the valley. And if you look at some of them, they do actually look like mouths and creatures and stuff. And it's kind of almost gives you the idea that these like massive creatures just floating above the mountains themselves, and that's where this kind of came in. Because we're of course in the Highlands as well, and I've been wanting to see actual Highland cows for a while now, and this kind of just flooded my brain with ideas, and I just kind of went ahead and drew this while I was walking along. It takes chunks out of staggering mountains with their devastating jaws. Yet they leave greenery everywhere they touch. So essentially they're like a force of nature. They take chunks out of mountain, carving them into the shapes that they are now, creating the valleys. But then they also leave plant life everywhere they touch. So they're like a mystical, kind of magical fertilizer in a way, which I think is pretty cool. And also kind of ties to reference, obviously, actual like cows and stuff. They use horse and cow feces to create fertilizer for crops. So there is actually some sort of like real life elements in there, obviously with the Highland cows being like the location as well. I took this little tree at the base of a mountain, kind of reminds me of that scene in the Prince of Egypt, where like Moses sees the burning bush. I thought it was pretty wicked. Again, like I said, there's a path that literally goes through Glencoe, so I took like a one-point perspective photo just here with the mountain in the background. I think the composition is great. And then, yeah, just a heap load of photos of me going through Glencoe, or me there, little dragon by the river. The meeting of the three waters and the three sisters, which are the three mountains just here. And yeah, you can kind of see where the dragon shapes start to fill in with these kind of pictures. I think it's like really windy path picture as well, which I think looks sick. We actually got some sun rays reflecting off the camera, and then finally we made it. I didn't actually know this. There's two wee white houses in Scotland. You got the first one, which is basically private property, and they've got like sheep farm outside. But it's at the base of this valley that a river flows down. The sun is just constantly in the background. You've got these three peaks, which is one there, and then one right in the back. And yeah, it was just exceptional, beautiful, and I got some really, really great photos here. And yeah, there's even like this little, it's not a lock, but it's like a mini sort of like a pond or lake just at the bottom where the water flows into that continues to sort of descend down the valley as you walk along. A couple little pics there, as you can see. And then I took probably one of the best pictures I've taken while I was there, which is this one just here. What I tried to do while I was walking along, and this is actually like part of the 60-mile hike. So I started in Kinlochleven and then walked to the old Bridge of Orkney. We're getting onto another bit later as well. While I was walking, what I tried to do is every kind of... so basically, the very first photo I took, what I do is walk to a point where you couldn't see where I was before and take another photo looking backwards. And the whole idea was to essentially capture my journey via photos going forwards, looking backwards every time to a point where you couldn't see where I was before, but only just about. To truly like capture not only the scale of mountains themselves, but the distance I'd actually walked. And I know this actually looks like a wall, but this is the path I was walking along. And it does kind of trick your eyes a bit, like with perspective and everything. Stuff can look really small but be insanely massive, especially when you're walking through a place like this. But yeah, that was wicked. I made my own little sort of stone structure. They actually make stone structures to let people know that they're on the right path when you're climbing mountains. So I started to make my own little one just here. Got some other pictures from me there. Some lovely valley pictures you can see. An amazing valley picture where it literally just curves down like a full, like a perfect half circle. And then finally you've got the sort of leaving Glencoe mountain range. You've got the other wee white house, which is just tucked in there, in some shots. And then I saw another double rainbow, and myth busted as well. Whoever came up with the theory that rainbows are flat lines across the sky, you're lying, right? You can, and yeah, you can quite clearly see, and I have photo evidence of, you can quite clearly see that this rainbow passes in front of this mountain, which was literally just off to my left. I could see the end of a rainbow. They're not flat lines across the sky. What actually, from what I can tell, I don't know why they're in the bow shape, but I think it has something to do with the shape of like the raindrops are shaped. But essentially, how it works is the sun refracts through the rain, creating the colours that you see in a rainbow. And I don't, which begs the question: why would the whole sky not just be like the rainbow colours? Like, why is it in an arc shape? I think it has to do something with the curvature of the Earth. But yeah, it literally passes in front of the mountain. So how are they flat lines across the sky if it literally interacts with the environment? Boom. Myth busted. And I could actually see the other end. I got this like really kind of classic sort of generic look with like a windy path leading up to mountains as well, which is pretty sick. I got this van like driving up to the mountains as well, with this really sort of like cloudy, puffy, pastel-y look, which was awesome. Which we can use for like concept art. There's something called the Stag Hotel on the way up as well, which is essentially basically. Oh, I forgot to even mention. In Kinlochleven, there is literally just deer walking around the streets. Like they're tame. They will come up to you and just sniff you and walk off. But I think the reason they literally just walk around. There were deer butting heads on the roundabout, like stags fighting. And I think they've obviously been there so long with people that they just live in harmony, and there's never any kind of, like, trouble with anything. But yeah, you would see deer and cows just wandering about. I saw reindeer while I was out there as well, just wandering around the highlands, which was insanity. And then I got this really cool picture at night, and then this is where things started to go wrong. So I did walk until 6 to the Bridge of Orkney, but it turns out there wasn't a train station there, or a bus station. And so it started to get very dark very soon, and with that, it's very cold. What ended up happening is I stopped halfway out of the Bridge of Orkney to the next town, and as I said, got very cold very quickly. Stupidly decided to lie down and have a sleep, and when I woke, I was the most cold I've ever felt. Like, I genuinely couldn't, like, stop shivering at all. Like, my whole body was, like, in... Then I ended up calling... police and services, and they took me into the next town across, which I think was Auburn, and I ended up getting a bus there in the morning. But yeah, it was a whole thing, and to be honest, one of the more beautiful things about it is that even though it's incredibly cold at night, it is so incredibly silent, which does play tricks on your eyes as well, with like things that you're seeing and like giant tall people chasing you or whatever. But on top of it, it is like so barren when you're walking across this sort of bit outside of Glencoe. And I don't know if it's even possible, or if what I saw was even there, or like it was something I was just seeing because like hallucination or whatever. But I'm pretty sure I saw a lunar rainbow. Like, it was raining at a point, and instead of the sunlight shining through the rain refracting it, the moon was shining through the rain and refracting it. And instead of seeing the colours, it was basically just a grayscale rainbow, which was really weird. I don't know if it's like a possible thing, or again if I was just seeing things, but I saw a rainbow that was just different shades of grey. Because it was the moon refracting through the rain rather than the sun. Besides that, though, we ended up making our way over to our final little place, which was, the second to last place, which was Buchanan. And again, we visited a ruin there, which is one of the most intact ruins I've ever seen. Buchanan Castle, it has been closed off a bit. There is an actual entrance you can go to, but it's like through like a little house driveway. One of the most intact ruins I've seen, and they've tried to bar it off from the public and everything, but there's still ways in. There's still ways you can get in and everything. And I went in to take some photos. It is it's so big, and there's actually a staircase you can go up along a rickety wooden plank to the second floor, which is a bit precarious. I did it anyway, but yeah, it's wonderful. And yeah, from what I can tell, looking at it, it almost seems like it burned down, from like the way that the wood is charred and everything has been chipped away. And I don't know if anyone gets me on this level, but I really like to see sometimes how nature like retakes structures in terms of when they've been ruined, or like how it like really ties around the environment in a way, because it is essentially reclaiming parts of itself, because this whole structure is essentially just made of stone, and stone obviously comes from nature, and so the plants kind of growing around it. Eventually this castle will completely like dissolve from like erosion and abrasion, but yeah, it looks wicked how like the trees are literally just jutting out from the windows, and there's kind of like plant life that have already become the pillars of this place. it almost looks like the castle's been grown rather than made. It's a really weird sensation, but yeah, wicked. Absolutely loved it. And it's got some very odd shapes that I've never seen really in a castle before. Well, in real life anyway. And then finally, we made our way to a place I've been wanting to go for ages. Sadly, it was closed because I mistimed it again. The Trossachs Will and Mill is essentially a Highland cow sort of cattle site where you can actually feed the cows yourself. And yes, I of course took this picture, which I thought was pretty wicked. And I also got my little cow out to take some pictures too. Unfortunately, we didn't actually see the Highland cows there. But not to worry, we did see them eventually. We made our way over to Glasgow for the final sort of trip, and we saw some like amazing sculptures in the evening. They had a TARDIS there, which I thought was wicked. It was actually a guy selling cheese inside the TARDIS, which was wicked. I got talking to him about kind of like local places, the Root of Magic, which is a cafe that he'd never heard of, that he was now going to go visit and everything. And then perhaps one of the most surprising things about the whole of my trip. For so long, I'd been searching for Highland cows, Highland cattle, the ginger cows with massive horns. I had no idea about this. Apparently, and now I know as well, and now you will know as well, in Glasgow, literally in the central park of Glasgow, they have Highland cows there. They have Highland cows in the central part of Glasgow. And I had no idea this whole time. And the best part is they're reasonably tame. They will literally come up to you and allow you to give them sort of head pats and rubs on the head and little scratches and everything. And yeah, it's wonderful. You can actually even see here that people are like reaching out. But yeah, there was baby ones there and I got some amazing photos. And this is mainly where I got a bit more reference for some other drawings I did at the time. But yeah, wicked. And then I saw this Rail Network statue on the way back. But they are so majestic and beautiful, and of course I took another picture with my hair on my face and everything, just so I remember. For those that know, I am ginger, if you haven't seen already, but yeah. Yeah, wonderful. And you know what? I would 100% hit up Scotland again. It's probably one of my favourite places I've ever been to. And I think I've already said already, but I want to go back there in about 2026. Possibly with some other people to film like a little bit. That is not probably. Possibly in like 2027 to even film like a bit of like a documentary about the wildlife and the folklore and some of the stuff just surrounding the areas. Possibly even going out to Walligo and Wick, the Isle of Skye and the Isle of Bute, and the Old Man of Storr, which is one of the places I have to cut off, which I was really excited about because it looks so amazing. So there's like a castle right on top of this mountain that's been all like ruined and everything. It's like a proper mountain climb. I'm planning to do the Three Peaks at some point, which involves Scotland and Ben Nevis and all of that. But yeah, it was a truly wonderful experience. I can't wait to go back at some point. I'm going to go to Norway next year, which I have all that planned out and everything. So yeah, and Vikings and everything like that. I love places with folklore and kind of fantasy themes and everything like that, and that can tie into history with like this superstitions and everything. Oh, it's going to be exceptional. But that's pretty much it for now. Apart from that, I had a modelling job the other day. We actually shot it in a No, that's not right. So basically, this pub is essentially a tavern that had been built way back when. And it has essentially been restored every 100 years. But because of that, there's still like bits of wallpaper that are bleeding through and like cracks in the roof and stuff. And it's very old and rickety. It feels like a medieval tavern, but we essentially shot in there as characters that we were playing in a more like generic term, like a widespread character rather than specific ones with names. And essentially, it's got an inn upstairs, and we were shooting it like we'd stayed in the inn upstairs, and it was the night after, and we were having a little party with like things. And the whole idea of it was to be on our phones the whole time as well. And then on top of that, the way that they actually shot the pictures, I found really interesting, because I obviously do photography as well, so I talked to the photographers on the set of modelling stuff to get some like insights behind what they do and stuff, and follow them on the socials. But basically, the way that they shot the pictures is very reminiscent of a director that I can't remember the name of. But if anyone's ever watched The Matrix or played The Matrix game, there's always that slight green tint when it comes to the film itself, and that's almost what they put into it. It felt very... The pictures, they felt not dirty and gritty, but real in a slightly altered way. They give everything sort of like a darker mood in terms, if that makes sense. And yeah, it's a method I'd like to try for like certain pictures. By adding like certain green turquoise tints, it makes everything slightly darker and gives like the darker truth behind what's going on in reality, if that makes sense. But yeah, wicked. I mean, apart from that, have a wonderful day, morning, night, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Hope you've enjoyed, because everyone's welcome here as well. And I will see you all soon, hopefully for Minecraft Monday. I should just mention as well, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days that I'm at uni. So Tuesdays, Turn-Back Tuesdays, when I play Shadowcraft, they will have to be cancelled. But most likely, if we get a chance on Sundays, I could do Shadowcraft on Sundays, as well as some art and some other bits and some Battlefront and, you know, some other bits. And also, fucking yes! There is a game that came out recently that is free to play on Xbox. It's a game preview, which is like kind of like pre-alpha before the full game gets released. We have it downloaded on the Xbox, and I'm going to be playing it at some point on stream, and it's going to be hella chaotic. I cannot wait to play, cannot wait to fully rage at the game about not being able to do stuff, but it also looks really, really, really fun, because as I mentioned, I really like ragdoll physics, sort of sandbox creative games and exploration stuff. So yeah, wicked. And it's a culture... The game is applied to a culture that I really, really like the aesthetic of, so yeah, wicked. But yeah, like I said, have a wonderful evening, night, day, afternoon, wherever in the world. Everyone's welcome here. All my socials are linked over here as mentioned, and if you want to see the video footage from Scotland, it's all over on TikTok, and it'll be in one chunk because it all got uploaded at the same time. On top of that, I've got Discord linked over here, so if you want to go check it out, feel free, because there's some games on there. There's stuff where you can talk about things and suggest things for Twitch streams and certain events and things like that. And you can rant about random stuff or specific stuff, or just have a general chat and play fun games and stuff, like what you generally expect from a Discord server. Yeah, and I might even be setting up my own Minecraft SMP at some point in the future, because I've got a really cool world seed that I think would really work exceptionally well, especially with people with like really creative minds like mine. And yeah, and anyone can join, and anyone, yes. You can tell I haven't done this in a while. But yeah, I'll see you all soon. Have a great one, and yeah, that's that. So also my YouTube's linked up here. It's where all the VODs from previous streams, including this one, will go up as full-length streams. Some of them have been cut into videos for storage and also lengthy purposes. I also did a month where I streamed basically fully for an entire month in August, which was the Shadowathon. There's a bunch of streams up there, IRL stuff, a bunch of mix of media and stuff. So if you want to check them out, feel free as well. But other than that, that's it. Have a good one. And oh shit. Goodbye. Goodbye. I've got to look after dogs. I've got a cockapoo around, and she's the most springy dog ever. We've also got a Maltese poodle who's a bit of a grumpy old man, but he's got a really cute side to him as well. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye.